From New York City, it's Rock Hard with Jay Conroy.
We are here with Melinda Colaizzi from Women Who Rock. Thanks for doing this, Melinda.
Thank you.
How are you?
I'm great. How's it going?
It's going good. It's going good. Now, tell me about Women Who Rock. What is Women Who Rock? Where did Women Who Rock start?
We started Women Who Rock 5 years ago. It was a concept that had been floating in my mind for years, though, when I lived in LA. Came up with the initial idea, but it was just that. It was just an idea that I thought this would be really great if we could get off the ground someday. And I'm chatting with you from Pittsburgh, PA today, and I made the trek back from LA to my hometown here in Pittsburgh. And a couple things happened that really brought all of the concepts and ideas and the cause together that I thought, okay, we're going to do this, and it's time to start this event. So Women Who Rock is one big part of it. It's a benefit concert that we host every year. It features a 100% female-fronted music lineup of some of the best local and national women in music. We've had some huge celebrities get behind the event. And the cause tied to Women Who Rock for the benefit concert is women's health research. And we thought it was really important that those two causes united, because women in music and women's health research are very much both underrepresented. So we thought this would be a fantastic way to shine a spotlight on both of those very important causes.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think it's let's start with health. Why do you think it's so underrepresented?
In the health side of it, I can tell you 100% it's because women have been understudied in women's health research. For years, health research was very much focused on the male body and did not take different things into account, like the different composition, like hormones and weight, and the health research, and I'm not even exaggerating, it was done 100% on men, and then those studies just carried right over and applied to women. And obviously men and women are very different. So that's part of the health problem, but that has somewhat changed. Well, it has changed, but there's still a lot of work to do to make that more of an equal playing field.
And so on the women's health side, you do the benefit concerts and the money goes towards women's health in what aspect? Is there certain organizations? Is there certain, whether it be breast cancer or something like that you choose where the money goes?
Yes. So proceeds from the benefit concert directly support McGee Women's Research Institute. They're based right here in Pittsburgh, and they're our nation's largest research institute dedicated solely to women's health. So great question about exactly what does that mean when we say it's supporting women's health research. The work at McGee spans to many different fields of women's health and infants' health too, right? Because you have to have healthy women to have healthy babies.
Sure.
But to give you an example of some of the areas of their research, they are world-class leaders in HIV prevention, in women's cancers, ovarian cancer, breast cancer. Right now, they are very much focused on COVID-19 research. One of their doctors is on a team that is working on a nasal spray that would block the virus. And then, when it comes to some of the other issues more on the maternal health side, a lot of work around children that have gone through chemotherapy that can't have children later in life, finding ways to preserve their eggs so they can actually have children. And then a lot in terms of the United States, actually, the rise in maternal mortality is actually increasing in our country. So they're very focused on that area of work as well.
And Women Who Rock, you're in Pittsburgh, but is this a nationwide organization?
It is. One of the silver linings, I think, of COVID has been for us. We had this fantastic lineup scheduled for our concert. We hold the concert every May, and just a killer lineup. We had Ann Wilson of Heart. We had Reese Wilson. Yeah, Sheila E. Sheila E's been a huge supporter of the cause. She played the first year that Women Who Rock made that jump to a big venue, and it had a national headlining artist. Sheila got right behind the cause and has become a dear friend and advocate of ours. But because we had to not have the concert here in Pittsburgh, what's happened was, and we've always had big plans to take this national and to take the concert to other cities, but we have had to focus on other ways to raise funds for women's health research. So we have been partnering with big brands who can help us through virtual opportunities, whether it's PR campaigns, social media, fundraising, virtual concerts, that has helped take this brand national, which we have done. And actually, there's a really exciting partnership I'm excited to tell you about today. We're just getting ready to kick off this October that I think is really going to give us a great national footprint.
That's good. That's
Yeah.
really good. So the concert usually would be held in Pittsburgh, not LA.
That's right. You know, it's funny though. We were scoping out LA. We actually traveled there in February to start putting the seeds in place to do a concert out there, and then this all hit. So that is,
Yeah.
once we can all get back and rock and enjoy live music, that's definitely on the list for a place to hold one.
So how many chapters are there, for lack of a better word? You're in Pittsburgh. Is there one in LA? Is there one in New York?
No, it all runs through a two-person operation here in Pittsburgh. Myself and Brianne Blazowski, who helps with the day-to-day. It's us, you know, facilitating these national partnerships, but that would be great someday to actually get more people on the ground throughout the
Well,
country.
for two women, two people, you certainly have covered a lot of ground.
Thank you.
That's for sure, because I follow your social media. You know, I came onto it and I was like, oh, I'm behind this. Let me say this first before I ask the question. To me, it's always been the same. And I'm like that in a lot of different ways in life, whether it's race, religion, gender, it's all the same. You believe in that, that's cool. As long as you're a good person, we get along, that's fine. And I had Susie Quattro on my show last week, and I talked about this with Susie Quattro. And I said, and believe it or not, Susie Quattro was my very first concert, because my very first concert was Alice Cooper, and Susie Quattro was opening.
Wow.
So Susie Quattro really technically was the first rock act I ever saw in Madison Square Garden. And I have a thing that and I still do this today. If I'm going to see a band and I'm not, the opener is a newer act, I'll go out and I'll get their music or I'll listen to their music so I know what they're playing when. So I had a couple of Susie's cassettes, we're going way back, and familiarized myself with their music, and she came out and she killed it.
Yeah.
And I just looked at it as she's a rocker. I didn't look at it as she's a pinup girl. She's she's a girl, And the thing that really made me start to think about this, and this was years ago, was Nancy Wilson from Heart in an interview said, a lot of people say to me, or say about me, she's pretty good for a girl.
Yeah.
And that struck me, and I was like, well, what's the difference? Like, what do you mean for a girl? Like, she could play. I mean, women have been, singing, playing, rocking, and all different types of genres forever. So, I mean, go back to, I don't know if you know who Sister Rosetta Tharpe is.
Absolutely.
All right. So there you go. She was like really the first rock star ever, So that being said, and again, obviously, I'm in the minority when it comes to these things. To me, it's all the same. If you can rock, you can rock. Women, men, it doesn't matter. So, after that whole long-winded explanation of mine, why do you think it is that women are not represented the same way as men are in rock and roll?
I think what you said, there's definitely some truth to that for sure. But I think that, having personal experience, my career's been unique because I have very much been both on the business side of it, working with big organizations like Live Nation, Universal Records, and then being a musician at heart. That's my first passion and love. I studied at Berklee College of Music. So that was maybe the first time, actually, when I went to Berkeley, that I thought a little bit differently. When I went there, it was like one female to every seven males that went to the college. And I was very much, especially being a rock singer, the only person. There were maybe a handful of like true rocker female singers at Berkeley. So
Yeah.
kind of like maybe the first time I started to think a little bit differently, like, oh, I'm a little bit outnumbered here. But I think too, one of the things, and I'll go into some of the stats that really opened our eyes at Women Who Rock. But
Okay.
one of the things that I keep hearing constantly, Women Who Rock also has very much, I think, created a safe space and a community for women to share their stories with us. We get all the time women from all over the world sending us DMs, thanking us for creating a community for women in music because they feel like they don't have one. I do a IG live series every Wednesday where I interview women in music. And one of the things that I keep hearing from them is it's so hard for me to find a strong female mentor in the music industry. Or I went to this gig and, it was my band and I walked in with all of my gear and the owner of the club ignored me and went right to my male band counterparts to talk about things like pay and how to set up my gear. And, we just keep hearing these stories. So the long answer to my short
It's okay.
right now is going to be women are still treated differently in the industry. One of the reasons I thought it was so important that Women Who Rock had a focus on music and did have 100% female fronted music lineup was because there was a Pitchfork stat that came out about 2 years ago. And they did a study across the major music festivals in the United States. On the lineup, only 19% were female fronted bands or artists. So
Yeah, that's low.
it's super low. And you keep there's a great study that came out, the University of Edinburgh. And when you go through and you look at the female producer stats and the songwriter stats and, more on especially the music, the side of being someone like me that's an actual music promoter, which I take on that role through Women Who Rock. I've never dealt personally. I know they're out there, but I've never dealt with a female promoter when I'm booking any of this talent for Women Who Rock. So when we get to the place that it's more of an equal playing field, then maybe we don't need Women Who Rock anymore. But there's still a lot of work that needs to be done to actually make what you're saying of it being equal and really not being divided. When everyone is treated that way, then we can stop our work.
Well, then what are you going to do?
Yeah.
Then you can get back to rocking. So
Yeah.
do you ever play yourself? Do you still perform? Do you still sing?
Yeah, I do. We just actually have a new song coming out on October 2nd, this Friday, that we were back in the studio. It's really hard to find time, as I'm sure you know, when we're all so busy with different tasks. But we were in the studio right before the pandemic hit, and we were lucky enough to track 2 songs. So those are our 2 new tunes that we released one a couple weeks ago. But yes, absolutely, music is who I am. So every chance I can get to rock, you better believe I am.
I love that. I think there's always going to be a place for your organization, Women Who Rock. Even if the tide completely turns and things come completely even, I think it's such a great concept.
Thank you.
Now, do you have like women organizations backing you as well?
We have a lot of companies that like to sponsor the event. And what we're finding is a lot of those companies are either women-owned businesses or they're being run by women. So in that sense, yes, there are a lot of really fantastic ways that you can sponsor Women Who Rock and get your brand and your logo. And like I mentioned, some of the big PR partnerships that we have, get inclusion in there. And that's where we're seeing a lot of female-owned businesses get behind the cause.
That's great.
Yeah.
Now, I almost feel like, and this is not the first time this has happened. I almost feel like, okay, I'm a guy very interested in Women Who Rock. Am I in the minority of that?
No, and that's one thing, we get this question all the time, especially when we're having that concert.
Oh, good. I'm glad.
Yeah, we always get this question like, do guys attend Women Who Rock? And yeah, absolutely. There's no type of male bashing or anything like that we do at the concert. And actually, we have a ton of guys that attend. And, men are very much affected by women's health as well. We're all affected by women's health. So it's a really important cause that we get a lot of guys that their mothers might have gone through breast cancer, or
one of my best friends is going through it with his wife right now.
Exactly. Or maybe, you and your partner are having fertility issues, and it just it affects everybody. So yes, very much so. You're not in the minority, but we do appreciate you.
Melinda Colaizzi, thank you so much for doing the show. We really do appreciate it. Woman Who Rock, we will be on top of it. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Jay. We really appreciate it.
All right. Talk soon.
All right. Take care.
Bye.